Attention, freelancers and solopreneurs. You are tuning into the Remote CEO, a show that will help you scale your business, become the authority in your market, grow into a better leader, and create your remote empire. And now, your host, acclaimed business coach and entrepreneur, Deneiro B.
What's going on, CEOs? This is Deneiro B, and you are listening to the Saturday interview episode of the Remote CEO show. I always make sure to have the most interesting guests and ask them practical and actionable questions so that you can take that knowledge and scale your business with it. So if you do enjoy this podcast, I would love for you to leave a review on your podcast app. It only takes a couple of minutes and it will make a big difference. Now, don't forget that we do release the 5-minute episodes every single day at around 6 a.m. Eastern Time. So subscribe to the show and you will get bite-sized actionable content delivered for free to your device. Also, share this podcast with other fellow entrepreneurs, freelancers, and solopreneurs. You're on the rise, so it only makes sense that you share this journey with like-minded people. And don't forget that the more you talk about these topics with other people, the more you will understand them and make them part of your everyday life. And now, let's get started. What is going on, CEOs? Deneiro B here with another episode of the Remote CEO show. Today, I am here with Rex Whitcamp. Rex was born to immigrant parents, and at age 24, he launched his first business, was successfully making $300K a year. After that, Rex turned to public service for a bit, and he became a firefighter, a paramedic. Then he got back into business, and he also is a cancer survivor, and he mentors other cancer survivors. Rex now manages a private yacht program and keeps being an author, speaker, and consultant. I'm very excited for this chat. Let's get right into it. All right, Rex, again, thanks a lot for being on the show today. I'm very excited for you to be here.
Absolutely, Deneiro. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. So Rex, I'm going to open this interview like I always do. I always ask my guests to really talk about what they were doing before they started their business or their entrepreneurial journey. So give us a bit of your background.
It's kind of a loaded question, but I appreciate that. Like I said, once again, thanks for having me on your show. And I have a defining struggle through my life. And as a cancer survivor, I overcame many obstacles before then and even after then. But that was the defining moment for me, which allowed me to focus my mind and focus my potential on believing what is possible for my life. I started to have a larger vision of what was possible in my life. I've done a lot of things. I've been a boat captain. I've been a fireman and a paramedic. I have been a business owner. I've had the 40-hour week jobs in the marketplace. None of which were so fulfilling as realizing and fulfilling my own purpose and potential, which leads me to where I'm at now as an author, a speaker, and a private boat captain here in South Florida.
That's very, very interesting. So actually, can you break down what you are currently doing with the business and how you lead your lifestyle? Because here at the Remote CEO, my listeners are not only here to get how-to tips on how to scale the business, but the word remote, I actually mean it. I want people to understand that they can live their life on their own terms. So can you just paint a picture of how a day in Rex's life is?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about remote work, you're talking about productivity, okay? You want to establish systems in your business so that you are able to scale and then live that remote lifestyle. So I've built a process in my my digital media company that I have for marketing and for podcasting and websites and social media and things like that, that I've built systems in place to be able to construct more time for myself, which then allows me to pursue more goals for leading the business further ahead. If people that start entrepreneurial lifestyles and entrepreneurial dreams and hopes for running their own business. They've had it with the workforce and they want to be their own boss. They immediately run into a challenge of being their own worst bottleneck. And so if you create systems and standard operating procedures in your business for other people to follow, you can task this team of yours, because all things are possible, but you got to have a team behind you. You can spend so many wasted hours doing everything yourself, and that's where the entrepreneurs get stuck in being a bottleneck to their business. So if you can outsource, if you can virtual assistant, if you can have a team, if you can have systems in place, this is what allows people to free up and then pursue larger goals for the future direction of their business.
100%, Rex. Actually, you brought something up earlier. You said you're a captain, you have businesses, and a lot of people, there's this conflicting information out there. On one end, you got people that tell you the one thing, you got to focus on the one thing, nothing else. Don't really spend your energies, waste your energy looking at several different things at the same time. But then at the same time, you see a lot of entrepreneurs that are able to lead such diverse lifestyles. One day they're working on one part of the business, another time they're scaling something else. So you're definitely on that side, like I am as well, but I want to hear this from you. What is the difference between the successful entrepreneurs that are able to do so many different things and the ones that are really not able to even do two things at the same time?
Well, really it comes down to discipline, your self-defining achievement that you can do, but you have to be able to manage your time. A lot of people chase a lot of rabbits and then they end up catching none. And so I think if you're as an entrepreneur, you have to focus on your passion. You have to focus on what it is that you're good at, and you have to do what you can with what you have from where you're at. A lot of people want to jump into the entrepreneurial remote CEO game, but they leave out an important factor, and that is they can't immediately they expect immediate success. And success is a defining word that a lot of people struggle with, because on Instagram and on Facebook and everywhere, the flashy lifestyle, people equate success to Lamborghinis and Instagram models and travel and things like that. But what they don't understand is that success can have a new definition. And to me, the best definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. They have to chase the ideal, what's important to them. And whenever they find what it is that they were born to do on this planet, they are now following their passion, and success immediately follows everything that they do because they're focused on that. But if they try to focus on one thing and demand that they have success in a short amount of time, they're going to hit resistance and they're going to hit struggle. And here's why. All true dreams will be tested for authenticity. And when your hopes, your aspirations, your defining moments of what you want to accomplish in life, if that's truly your dream, life will come at you with every roadblock and obstacle imaginable to stop you, to prevent you, just to test you, and to make sure that that is really what you want to do. And once you don't give up, that's when success happens, because you're chasing your worthy ideal and you have focused and you have told yourself and you've told the world, I will not be denied at my dreams and at my goals. Now, when you talk about how can you have success in other areas, well, it's time management. It's a balance. You want to pursue your passion, but if you can't have immediate 100% success immediately, well, you have to do something. That's just the laws of the world. You have to be able to sustain your lifestyle, sustain your rent, sustain your bills. Well, you need to be able to get good at other things, and this is where developing yourself and your skill set comes to play, because it's very important to have more than one set of skills to be able to be flexible and adaptable to the marketplace, because you're going to be paid for your value. So the more value that you can bring to the marketplace in different areas, the higher chance of success you're going to have in any of those areas, and then it'll allow you more time to pursue one of those passions that you have that aligns with your purpose.
So this makes total sense. You said a couple of things. You said a lot of stuff that was super interesting, but the one thing that really stood out of everything you said was the fact that it needs to really be something you're passionate about, or at least something not even passionate, because sometimes, people overuse the word passion, but it needs to be a real goal that you really, really want to achieve. I know there are a lot of people just want to be designers. They want to be internet marketing experts and all that stuff just because, it's just a new buzzword, right? But in reality, if you're able to put together a business that is based on things that you truly, truly want to do, you're going to find a way to do it in the long run. And like you said, it's very, very important to be patient at it.
I wanted to really understand at the end of the day, how do you start working on a boat? Like, this is something that you did before. Like I was even on your Instagram. After, I'm going to ask you to tell my listeners how they can find you online. But I see that you're on a huge yacht there. What kind of a business is that? What do you do?
So I have one of my interests, and this came from following my passion. I was in the fire department, and
Nice.
I've grown up around fishing poles and fishing ponds and catching fish and going fishing and fishing trips. I never had a boat when I was growing up, and I've always I've had an interest in the marine aspect my entire life. I'm a scuba diver, an instructor, and I love to spearfish and travel and dive, and I love surfing and all the water sports. So naturally, and fishing as well. I've always loved it. Well, I haven't denied myself the joy and the appreciation for all that goes into being around the water, and so I started finding out how I can drive a boat, how I can buy a boat, how I can run a fishing business, how I can run a two-boat fishing business. And I started to develop more time into building my skills to develop myself as a captain. And then I eventually made the move to the Florida Keys in South Florida, where I just started having more and more fulfillment through operating different types and different size vessels. And it eventually got me into the private world of yachting, which I am now currently working as a private captain for a local family in Miami. And I run a program for basically a family that pays me to be their full-time boat captain. But in the end, it's really my passions that I sustain on the side. Like you said, it's a management of time for balancing, businesses on the other side. Because like people say, it's your 9 to 5 is your job, but your 5 to 9 is your passion. That's your grind. That's your life outside of what you do for a living. And so that's really how that kind of circled around and allowed me to sustain what it is that I have an interest in, because people that are unfulfilled in life, they don't follow their passion. And I know you said it's an overused word, but if they can't do it all in one day, then just do a little bit. And so over the years, I've built a regimen and a discipline to increase my skills and learn more and have more interest by studying and developing myself as a captain. And in the end, I'm an overnight 10-year success. People see this now, but
Exactly.
It's not that this happened overnight. I've built this over years and years and years by simply staying true to what it is my purpose and passion is. And then along the way, I've developed a sense for accomplishment and self-development, which has led me to fulfill another purpose of mine, which is how to encourage and motivate people to fulfill and have success following their dreams, their goals, their purpose in life. Because in the end, we all have a mission to accomplish, and we only have a set limited time to accomplish that. So I would encourage your listeners to go after their dreams like their life depended on it, because it does. So what they're doing now has to provide fulfillment in order to get them to where they want to be, because there may be a distance between where they want to be and where they're at right now. And I'm trying to live my life as an example to others to fulfill their purpose in life and follow their passions, just by creating that gap and then shooting towards that goal.
That's very true. I wanted to ask you another productivity question before we get to where can people find you online. You were talking about the 9 to 5, and then the 5 to 9 is your passion. Do you find that it's okay for everyone to split their focus during the same day on two different things, or are you more the type of person where you would value focus on one item, or one big item for the day, and then the day after you do something else, provided that you can do it? I know a lot of people that work full-time, they can't, they don't have the luxury of setting aside 1 or 2 full days for their passion. But is it okay to split your day in two, or would you do one day one thing, another day another thing?
Well, listen, we're the recent turn of events in the world, and I'm going to answer this as concisely as I can.
Yeah.
What we're living in right now is an increased time of change and competition. And what we're trying to know about ourselves and what we're learning is that who we are as people, as individuals, we're struggling with our identity. We're struggling with our origin. We're struggling with our purpose, and we're struggling with our destiny. The 4 biggest questions that people have to answer for themselves will give them, when they answer these questions of identity, of origin, of purpose, and of destiny, they're going to have clear and cut direction for their life. Now, when you have a 5 to 9 or a 9 to 5 that they work at, they should concentrate on that. Obviously, if they're working for an employer, do your diligence for your position. Because there's nothing worse than waking up on Monday morning and going to a job that you hate for 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life to retire on 40% of your salary. That is not what people were designed to do. Those people live mediocre lives. And so they have to understand that there's something greater for their purpose. And now that's where the 5 to 9 comes in. If they're in a 9 to 5 now, they can't just up and walk away and then expect to live their passion. You have to develop your passion. You have to water that seed of yours. You have to build that area of your life, because through the evolution of society and all the norms that take place, people, that part of people's lives are put down and dismissed and discouraged. And that's a shame. That's a real tragedy for the rest of us, because we don't get to share in what it is that person can really do. And when somebody has sat down and they've identified who they are, because I ask people, who are you, without telling me what you do? That's a very hard question for people to understand, because when you say, hey, Jim, nice to meet you. Who are you? Jim will say, well, I'm a bartender, or I'm an insurance salesman. Well, okay, that's what you do. That's not who Jim is. And so when I went through this, I had an exercise where I asked 10 of my friends, closest friends and family, give me 10 adjectives to describe Rex. And believe it or not, there was overlap between 10 different people's 10 adjectives. And so this gave me a description where I can say in one sentence who it is that I am without saying what I do. And so you got to be very thankful to your team, your support network that can help you through defining these things. And it's just defining purpose for yourself. And once you move past that, you can really focus your efforts on what it is you want to do. And then you're going to meet some resistance, because if who you are does not match with what you're doing for so many hours during the day, you're going to come to a decision. Because most people that don't lead a life of design, they're discounting everything that they are able to do. And a lot of that has to come with personal development and fear for what's possible for their life. They either fear that they can't do it, they fear that they aren't deserving of that, and people are a reflection of what the story is that they believe about themselves. And so they got to have better programming, and all of that from the beginning of our talk today, Deneiro, all of that comes from programming your mind. And so I suggest that if people have an inclination, if they have a desire, if they have a want to be the best version of themselves and somehow live that life by being a remote CEO, they need to tune in to that mental programming that starts at the beginning of their day and it ends their day every single day. They need to develop themselves 3, 4, 5 times a day. When they're at their 9 to 5, they can focus on their 5 to 9 by continually thinking and envisioning themselves. Visualization is one of the most powerful, underrated tools that people never use. If they would visualize themselves during their 9 to 5 about what their 5 to 9 would look like on a better scale, they would have a lot more success in that area. And then when they get to that decision point as to whether or not their 5 to 9 makes sense or their 9 to 5 makes sense, they can naturally make that transition because it's already occurred in their head. Yes. And so hopefully some tools and tricks that I've used for defining success in my life. And if it's possible for me, anybody can do this. Anybody at all.
Yes, 100%. You said something very interesting. You're right. Like there's that period of overlap, which is generally the hardest one because people have to start working on their 5 to 9. But at the end of the day, it's not only the 9 to 5. I know a lot of business owners that I work with and that I coach that have a business that they're not in love with it anymore, and they want to move on to a different type of business. And that's also another overlap from some situation that they're in right now to a different situation. Work with a lot of people that have brick and mortar offices and they work in Canada or northern part of the United States where it's very cold, and they want to start reorganizing their lifestyle in a much better way, so to speak, more free way. And they have those mental blocks as well, because for 30 years they may have been stuck in that mentality of got to go to the office in the morning, I got to do this and this, and now maybe they're selling their properties. They feel like that this different lifestyle it's a bit scary, but it's all about envisioning it. And then once you envision it, you become kind of that person, you act like that person, and everything else works out. Rex, I wanted to ask you, where can people find you online? You're giving me so many great, things, and I want my listeners to go and find you online.
I'm online through my website at rexwhitcamp.com. I have some time there that I spend on Instagram as well at Captain Rex Whitcamp, which is a CAPT.RexWhitcamp, and all that should be linked together through the funnels and the website and the Instagram page. I try not to spend too much time on the Facebook, but it's just gotten so political and negative lately that it's just taxing everybody. And I like to surround myself with the positivity of life, because being a cancer survivor and being an overcomer and being an achiever, I want the next level. I want the growth. Yes. But I'm also willing to face the struggle, because that's where the growth is. I don't shy away from it. I seek out the challenges in my life because it pushes me and it grows me. Because if you can't grow, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy in life, then what else is there? Yes. So you have to struggle you have to get willing to get through the struggle to get through your main purpose in life. And then the fulfillment is, because we're all after fulfillment at the end of the day.
Yes.
So I'm on Instagram, a little bit on Facebook, mostly through my website as well. I'd love to hear from your listeners and help to see how I can support them in defining their goals and achieving their dreams of becoming remote CEOs as well, because it's possible for everyone.
Exactly, 100%, Rex. It was awesome to have you on the show. I'm going to have all those links on the show notes, and can't wait to have you back on the show, man.
Oh, absolutely, my friend. Thank you for reaching out. It's been an honor and pleasure to be on your show.
All right, bye.
Let's talk soon. Take care.
And this is it for today, CEOs. Thanks for staying with us until the end. Can I ask you a big favor? Can you please leave a review? I know the podcast app is not super straightforward, so if you don't know how to leave a review, just DM me on Instagram at Deneiro B, DENIEROB, and I will send you the direct link to the review section. And to show you my appreciation, I will answer any business question you ask me during that conversation. So thank you again, and I will talk to you again soon.